maybe we could have it just a little while longer here. We can enjoy some sunsets. You can finish your book. And besides, maybe it's time I actually retired. It's going to be a terrific 2 months.
2 months? What?
In life, we meet lots of really different characters. None more unique and interesting than the characters that make up what we call our family.
Really feeling the feels of mi gente, the people of Mexico.
George, you know you're half Puerto Rican.
Yeah, man.
While no one is ever quite certain where the path they're on will lead, with the support and love of those around you, it's always more about the journey.
Oh, chapulines.
The Mexican popcorn, and they're extra spicy.
But you know, it doesn't have much. That's gonna kick.
I'm just trying to save the world that your generation has been so good at destroying.
Are you in or out?
Oh, that smell of peroxide. It's like I'm back in the game.
As we say in Mexico, al mal tiempo, buena cara.
That doesn't even make sense.
Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Garcias press conference. We have a very talented group with us. We have Jeff Valdez, the creator, showrunner, and executive producer, and our fantastic cast. We have Ada, Carlos, Elsha, Jeffrey, Ava, and Trinity. I want to just kick off with a question first up for Jeff. Can you tell us about the journey from the brothers Garcias to the Garcias?
Sure. The Brothers Garcia ran from 2000 to 2004, then went off the air. And then in 2011, and the show was in 60 countries, and it was a very popular show on Nickelodeon, if not the #1 show. And then in 2011, I reapproached Nickelodeon and for 7 years tried to get the rights back, and with no luck. And then in 2018, Bob Backish became the CEO of Viacom. Then I called Bob. I said, Bob, I'm flying to New York. I got to talk to you. And I flew to New York, went to his office at 1515 Broadway, talked to him, convinced him that he should sell us the rights back. And by the time I left his office and got to my hotel, about a 10-minute walk, I had lawyers from Viacom on the phone saying, Bob called us and you're going to get the rights back. Then it took about 3 years from then until about 2 years ago, I called the cast to my house and said, hey, we're going to redo the show. I haven't sold it, but I've got the rights. So that's kind of an important step, you know, and they all believed that we would get it done. And then we got it sold, and then we went and shot it last summer, and here we are.
Great.
So, piece of cake, 10 years, no problem.
I'm going to throw it to Rick if you want to ask a question.
Yes, thank you. Jeff, my question's for you. When the original Brothers Garcia launched, it made history because of the cast and crew. I'm wondering, at that time, was that a hard pitch? Were they looking for diversity at that time? And now, 22 years later, whatever it is it easier now to pitch diversity shows, or is it still, do you still seeing the same sort of backwash towards you?
You know, I wish well, first of all, diversity, and here's the thing, the whole show is about creating a sense of normalcy. That's the whole thing. And back then when we screened it for a group, a young girl, probably about Trinity's age, when the lights came up, she blurts out, thank God there's a show that confirms my normalcy. Because that's what the show has always been about. And I think Hollywood tries too hard to make us Latino. And like, we don't drive Latino cars, we don't have Latino pens, you know, that's not a Latino shirt. We're people first. And that's the whole point of the show then. And now we really hope this show, and I think the cast can attest to it, and because they're a phenomenal cast. And I was like so honored to have this cast that, you know, they just bring a sense of normalcy to this show. So can Hollywood do better? Well, yeah. You know, Hollywood averages about 2% for inclusion for Latinos in front of the camera and behind the camera. And the Garcias, I would challenge anybody in town to show a credit roll with more Latino names on it than ours. We're at 92%. So either we're geniuses, which I promise you we're not, or other people just aren't trying as hard as they need to.
Thank you.
All right, Pop Culture Planet.
Hi, I'm Kristen. Wanted to say it's just funny that you mentioned 1515. That's where I work, so I was like, oh, shut up. But I was a huge fan of the Brothers Garcia, so I was so excited to see this new continuation. And I'm curious. I've already noticed a couple of fun Easter eggs to the original show. Are there any moments that you guys are excited to recreate?
Maybe Ada or Carlos want to answer?
Jeff wants me to say Ray all the time. Ray!
Right. And Ray is very much, he's a Mayan history professor. So he knows a lot about the past, but very little about the present. And he's always trying to keep up. So that was true in the first show. And Sonia's hair thing is fantastic. So Harrison. Yeah. So there's a lot of callbacks to the original show.
And we actually have 5 Easter eggs in the show of new shows that we plan on spinning off.
Oh, can you tell us anything about that?
I could, but I'd have to kill you then. I don't want to do that. No, there. When you watch the series, you'll see there are 5 Easter. I'll just give you the tease. There's 5 Easter eggs of new shows that we're doing that we plan on taking out to the market.
Awesome, thank you.
And by the way, somebody pointed out in an earlier interview, Trinity and Ava hadn't even been born when the original Garcias was done, and Alsha was like
9
and 10.
So yeah, so that's showing how old I am.
All righty, Darren, with the hype, do you want to ask your question?
Sure. Jeff, a pleasure to speak with you again. And the last time we spoke, we talked about your history as a manager of a comedy club and also a successful stand-up comic. My words that you're a successful stand-up comic, not yours. I was wondering if the creative process in creating stand-up material is really, really different to helming TV shows, to the point that you almost had to unlearn what you knew as a comic to succeed with shows like this.
It is very different because stand-up is like short. It's like a little short sprint. It's a sketch, and then you usually find a different bit. Not a sketch, but a bit, and you fit that bit in between 2 other bits at work. Whereas writing this show, when I first wrote out the Bible for it, there were 13 characters. There's no TV show with 13 characters. And as I was creating the characters, I'm like, well, Carlos needs a wife, and I want to make the wife, I don't want her to be Latina. I want to open the family up, and then trying to create a story arc for 13 people. And there is a story arc for 13 people, for those who have watched. It was a lot of architecture. It was a lot of planning. And by the time it got to the writer's room, it really worked. And then, when the actors put it on the stage, they just were absolutely brilliant, and they just gave it so much life. And like I said, I am blessed with, just this amazing team of actors around the show.
Thank you.
Great. We have a question here for all the cast members. What does it mean to you to be a part of an all-Latino sitcom? Carlos, maybe you want to go first.
So I'm gonna say just off the bat, it is just such a relief to be able to. It was such a relief to be able to just be a human being and not have to play the stereotype of a Latino written by someone else. Now I'm fine. I love doing those two, and that's good. But for me, being part of this was liberating. That's the word. And then more than that, it's such a fun and happy show. It's so entertaining and funny, and I love everyone involved with it. The cast, Jeff, everyone. So it's just been a wonderful experience.
And by the way, it's not all Latino. We have a Korean representing, and it's a slice of America sitcom.
Yeah, I feel like what the Brothers Garcia did 20 years ago, where it's the same thing that the Garcias is doing today, and representing the AAPI community and mixed race families. It's just, again, normalizing it, because if you look around, if you go outside, this is what families look like. Families aren't all just one color. They're not all just one personality. And the same groundbreaking things that the original show did, we're just doing the same thing again, carrying on the story.
I feel so fortunate and happy that I get to be part of this amazing cast. And Alexa, Alexa is a mixed race girl just like me, and this feels like my family. And Ocean and Jeffrey are very much like my parents, and I think it's really important and great that we get to see that.
Ava, speak up.
I think it's a great comedy show. Like, we are a family, and like we all care for each other, and it is what Trinity said, like it's all mixed family. Like, I'm a different race in real life and in the show, like we all care for each other, and yeah, it's a great warm family show, and you can watch it with your family too.
Just to add, I remember to piggyback off of Carlos's answer, I remember walking into the audition originally and, asking, would you like an accent with my reading? And Jeff asked, do you have an accent? And I said, no, but he's a Hispanic character. And he's like, well, then no, I don't want an accent then if you don't have one. And I was like, okay. And like, from that point on, I just knew like this was going to be different.
Yeah, so true. We get to be so many types within our type, like it is in real life. Every family has the goof off or the intellectual or the, just different types. So we just get to be ourselves. It's just wonderful.
Great. I'm going to take a question from Heart of Hollywood. Oh, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, everyone. My question is for the cast as well. I wanted to know, is there any characteristics within your characters that you can personally relate to?
Ha! Yes. Carlos and I would go for walks, and he says to me, "What's the matter?" I said, "Well, I'm just so worried about George. I don't know what's going to happen there, because all I do in real life is worry about my own kids, and then when I'm on the show, I'm worrying about these kids too." So, yeah,
it's true.
It's just an extension of you can't help being a mother ever.
Yeah, and I'm always one step behind in real life with my sons, and I'm a step behind with this family too. But always trying to keep up. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you. I'm a parent too. I overstand. Thank you.
I love that phrase, overstand. I have friends that use it. That's an awesome phrase.
I overstand.
I love that.
Great. We'll take a
By
question.
the way, Jeffrey's just playing Jeffrey, and Bobby's just playing Bobby. They're not even acting. They're just playing their own characters. Quite frankly, so much of the show, the characters are just literally playing themselves.
Well, we're kind of ourselves, but a little extra, a little bit. Please tell me I'm extra on the show.
Yeah. Oh, of course, Ada. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? It's really just extra.
Great. We'll take a question from San Antonio Express.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for the time here. I wanted to throw this question out to Jeff. I'd be remiss if I didn't, ask about, why set this story in San Antonio? Why, and clearly this new series expands beyond San Antonio, but really wanted to get your thoughts as to why San Antonio.
Oh, the original series? Oh,
well, both in a sense, yeah.
Well, the original series took place in San Antonio because the original series was based on a short film called Barbacoa that was made by two local guys from San Antonio, Mike and Gibby Ceballos. Right. And we had Bruce Barshop, who's a local guy from San Antonio, brought that project into our company at the time. And we sold it to Nickelodeon, and we were so excited. And we took it and screened it for a focus group, and the focus group did not react well to it because they said, it was a very blue collar type of family. And they basically felt that they wanted more of the Cosbys. So we threw the baby out with the bathwater and started creating my sister actually has a beauty salon in her house. And so many of the characters are really based on, I wanted to be an astronaut. So that's where Larry's astronaut fantasy comes from. So much of that original series came from that. And we just kept it in San Antonio and totally retooled the show to make it more upscale and more Cosby-like. And now in the new one, George was in tech, And there's a lot of guys in tech. He made a bunch of money, and now his wife's very successful from Mexico, and they live in Mexico. And so basically the family comes to visit, and as sometimes families do, another family person shows up and another one shows up, and pretty soon you've got a very busy household.
Nice. Good to know. Thanks, Jeff.
You bet.
We'll take a question from Ola Hollywood.
This question is for Jeff, and then I also have a question for the cast. So, Jeff, what were the qualities you were looking when choosing your cast? Were you choosing for something specific, and you were like, this is the one? And for the cast, what does this opportunity mean to you right now at this moment, and what were you doing before the Garcias?
Who would you like to go first?
You.
I'll go first. The qualities in the cast, well, they can act. You know, a very simple quality. And what we did something kind of new and different, because the original series, we cast everybody in person. Because of COVID, we had to do all the casting with Zoom. And I actually won't ever cast anybody in person again, because the experience of using Zoom was so fantastic, because you see what somebody's like on TV, on your screen. This is how we watch them in this world. And so it was really, really wonderful to see them on screen. And what happened is, when we got to the final callbacks, when we knew who we had picked, and one of the things we did is we had the new cast, when we knew they were really in the final callback, read with the original cast in a scene. And we have video, if you want, we can make it available to you, where everybody on the new cast, the original cast, we knew that they were going to get the job, and we'd do the scene, and they would be doing the scene, and then, you know, then Jeff would say, oh, do his line, he'd go, oh, and, you know, and welcome to the Garcias. And they were like, what? And it was just this, to watch that process happen. It was so beautiful, and it made me cry multiple times.
Yeah, I saw Nitzias, which was very...
oh, yeah. Because so many people don't get to see that part of the beauty of making a show. And so we really, you know, we shared that. It's online. And you know, and they all just nailed it. They just all worked. Nitzia, when, you know, she was actually not even the top candidate for the role, and then her and George got together, and just the chemistry, her and Bobby, the chemistry just immediately hit. You know, and I think, if I remember, it was Trinity was in that casting with them. No, it was Maeve, and she couldn't even get a word in edgewise. The two of them just went off, and I was like, okay, this is a match made in heaven. You know, and Elsha, you know, I mean, all of them, they just, you know, Trinity, we kept having to explain that she'd gotten the show, and her and Ava didn't quite understand. I'm like, you're in the show.
Me and Ava were like, what?
You're like, I was like,
My face
That's
was
a cat
frozen in this expression.
Well, I'll just say that as an older actress in Hollywood, you know, just to be working is so great. And I was working quite a bit already, but to be able to work on something that you really love and enjoy at this time it's just really a blessing. It's wonderful.
And for me, it was very validating personally, and it was just to act again, to renew my relationships with the original kids, you know, who were 12 and 13 and are now in their 30s. And for me, it was like we had a long weekend, and we just got back together and started doing the shows again. And so that whole, just the idea that, I don't know, there was a continuity to it all that I hope goes on in the future.
yeah, I'm really grateful to play the character Andrea and be a part of this great Garcia family. It was amazing to work with them for 3 months.
Funny, the show takes place over 2 months, and we were there just like like 3 months, but and Trinity said this before, we were basically like on summer vacation, but shooting a show at the same time. And joining the original cast, definitely intimidating before we all got to meet. And as soon as we met, it was just so easy, and everyone was so welcoming. And it was like, and when Jeff and the original cast let us know on the auditions that we got the job, it was like, okay, this is going to be different. Like, this feels
happy,
like family. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually it's like your agent or manager telling you that, okay, you booked it, so here's what you got to do next. It's very, like, you know, not robotic, but I mean, it's kind of just, it's a job, you know, like that's it. But the fact that Jeff let us sit in on those casting sessions and have an actual say, like that's really cool. And I think to his credit, like it made a world of difference as well, getting those reads together. And as far as me being on the show, the new show, it comes with responsibility as well. And not acting for, quite some time, that, you can get a little stressed and a little nervous, but it just means that you care that much more, and that it means a lot to you. So I hope I did okay.
Filming was so super
Trinity.
fun, and yeah.
Oh, it's your turn.
Thank you. Filming just was a blast, and filming in like the most beautiful place in the world. And Jeff kind of said it would be like a holiday, and it was a holiday, just with lines. And yeah, I had such a fun time being Alexa and continuing the story of the brothers Garcia, which is now the Garcias.
But none of you mentioned the snake at the table read.
Oh, that's
I'm trying to forget it.
that out.
We got to find that video.
That was fun.
I was so scared, but it was very funny.
It's like it just happened in an instant. Like no one really knew what was happening at first, and then all of a sudden, people were climbing on tables with their mask and their script in one hand. Like Ada was so hands-on; she just immediately went onto the table, script and mask.
The snake came into our table read towards the end of the shoot, and it was hysterical. People were diving for cover. It was really funny. One thing I might add, and I think this is important to knowing about the show. The show had no executives on it. I had complete creative control, and that's something that when I shared with everybody, I said, because normally you have a lot of executive input on a show, and my partner went to the folks and said, look, we know how to be Latino. We've been doing that all our lives, and Jeff did 50 episodes of the original show. We got this. And it was also good because as there's such a plethora of content on streaming platforms, we wanted to say, look, we want to be able to bring a show, because Ralph's grocery store can't make everything on their shelves, right? So we were like, let us provide the content. We know this world, we know this space, trust us. And we're thankful that we had that. And I told everybody, it's with great responsibility we do that. So we can't just say, oh, we got control, we can do whatever we want. No, we really, everything from the writer's room to the lighting to the camera to everything, there was absolute commitment, discipline. And the thing I love about the show is it's really authentic. It's not somebody telling us how to be Latino, because otherwise the show would have been a Latino show, and it's not. It's a family show. So we had that. The fact the actors, a lot of that were kids before, they hadn't acted in 15 years. Some of the writers hadn't written in 15 years. Some of the directors had never directed. So when I say we flew without a net, but we showed that you find smart people, give them an opportunity, and they will deliver in spades.
Great. Alrighty, I'm going to take it away to, let's see. Heather, you still had a question, right? If not, I'm going to have Jaina, Whiskey and Sunshine. You want to ask your question?
Sure. Hello, everybody. So my question is kind of for the whole group, but I wanted to know, obviously this is a great show for families and we love that. I actually binged all 10 episodes and the first night I had the screener. I may have gone to bed a little bit late, but what is the message that you want people to take away from the series?
All right, I guess I'll take this one.
Bobby.
So we just want, I think really, I mean, at least personally, I want people's sense of normalcy to be confirmed. I want for people to see this and be like, oh, this is just like my family. Like whatever your background is, for children of immigrants, for immigrants in this country, for any sort of people who feel like outsiders, I just want them to feel like, I'm normal. I can see myself represented, and that the other thing as well is just the importance of family, and not just the family that you're born into, but your chosen family as well. The family that comes into your life, whether it be the wife who you end up marrying or your in-laws. That we really need to be there to support each other, and that love needs to shine through.
Yeah, and adding a little bit about representation, I think like it means being able to connect with a person or character just that you see on TV, that you see on social media, and you can identify not only with the physical similarities, but also discovering a deep cultural understanding and sense of belonging, and to know that there's a safe place where we can go and finally feel just like normal about being on the big screen, that it's normal to look different, to speak different, to sound with an accent, to embrace that we are all different, but that make us unique. And that's the beautiful about every single human being. So I think we're bringing light to this new generation, and we are giving new opportunities to the ones who dream about being actors, about being on the big screen. And I'm just like super excited and thankful for this family that now we have created.
Great. All right, Elena, do you have a question?
Yes, hi. I would love to know if there was a particular scene that you love filming most, and this is for the whole cast, and why? Why was that your favorite?
I'll kick this one off for funsies. Later in the season, there is a scene, I think, Bobby, you can probably confirm this, but it's the first time that like me and Bobby and Jeffrey have a scene together. And I'm kind of in the middle of the two of them fighting. And you know, being on set that day was so surreal because it just felt like we were back in early 2000s. Like it just, you know, and I remember being like, this scene was like really emotional, but kind of difficult, but amazing because it felt like home. It's one of my favorite scenes. And I think if you're an original fan of the original show, you'll see that episode and you'll be like, oh yeah, this feels like home.
That's the throwback episode. That's the one for the OG fans.
All right, great. I'll throw it again to Kristen, Pop Culture Planet.
Speaking of OG fans and throwbacks, there were so many moments from the original series that are just like burned into my memory, like Lorena trying to break a world record or raise spicy salsa. So are there any moments, like even small things that you guys are excited to like recreate for a new generation?
Let's let Maeve answer that one because she's got an interesting one for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's spoiling too much. Should I?
You can talk.
No, girl, do it. Just do it.
It's episode 1. You can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah,
so
you got your sign off.
Well, Victoria, she kind of, takes over with the salsa and stuff, and she blows the whole family away.
That's good. Without giving too much away. Good job.
Okay, great. Oliver, what was the most, tell us about a really fun time on set.
Let's see. Oh, a really fun time on set. Okay. So when me and Ava, who plays Andrea, entered a cooking competition, and let's just say it got a little messy. And I thought that was just really fun because it's something that you would never be able to do at school because you would get in a lot of trouble. And also something that your parents would never, ever, ever, ever allow. So I thought that was pretty fun.
And we still don't condone it, but it was funny.
And it was a long day, like super hot. You have no idea, maybe 12 or 15 hours on set. Outdoors, it was crazy.
That was a rough one.
Sweating, repeating the scenes, one like, hey, bravo, who's gonna win? Bravo, Max.
That scene, I think, takes the cake for one of the roughest days we've had on set because it was just such a long day.
It was.
It was only 98 degrees, 80% humidity. That was wasn't too bad.
Pretty cool.
Great, thank you. Rick, want to ask your question?
Thank you. Hey, Bobby, when the original show started, it was groundbreaking. It made history. Now that you're doing the new show, do you still feel like you're breaking ground, or do you feel like things have changed in the 2 decades since that original show?
Well, I mean, the truth is, have things changed? Yeah, but they haven't changed enough. we're not seeing enough of the. It's not even just about representation. We're not seeing enough of the proper representation. There's too much of Latinos on television and movies where we're drug kingpins or drug dealers or convicts or ex-convicts. There's not enough of us just being families, just being humans, just being real. There's not enough for your average Latino to just watch TV and be like, oh, that's just like me. Because I don't think your average Latino is going to, be watching some sort of Narcos type show and be like, oh yeah, that's just like my family, us dealing drugs. That's not the kind of thing that they're going to be able to really connect with. So this show is still groundbreaking, and there needs to be more of it. And I'm so honored to be a part of this with such an amazing cast that is so representative of who we really are in this country and outside of this country as well with Nitzia. And to show our culture in the most beautiful light.
Thank you.
And I always like to add that our creator, Jeff Valdez, always talk to us. And by the way, he always cries with us because he's very emotional. And I think that's very real when he says, guys, this is not for Latinos. We're not doing a Latino show. This is a family show. So anyone in the world, every single person can relate to it. So we're going to make sure that everyone is going to say oh, wow, it's just like my mom, like my dad. Well, someone, I don't know if it's here, but from Italy, just say oh, your character reminds me to my mother because when she gets mad at my dad, he used to speak in Italian. So it's not, maybe she's not from Mexico, but it's kind of the same. It's the sense of being a family, of that sense of belonging. And it's beautiful just to portray a positive content and to know that if you have a family nowadays that we're living and facing difficult times, it's a blessing. So we have to say thank you for having a family, a loved ones. Let's protect them. Let's enjoy life with them and just be grateful for having people in our lives.
Great, thank you. I'll take it over to Richard.
Bobby, this one's to you. I put my shirt on just for you, man. I put my own flowered shirt on just to ask this question, man. Last time we talked, I needed to represent here. But when Jeff approached you to bring this character back to life, did you have any hesitation in saying yes?
I mean, I wish I could have a story for you there and be like, yeah, I had to really think and pray. No, 100%. On that phone call, I think before he even finished, I was like, yes, when do we start? Absolutely. I was so excited. I wanted to know, because I was in the original show, but I was also a fan of the original show. I enjoyed watching it. And I mean, over the years, whenever, I would meet somebody and they'd be like, oh my God, you're from the original, let's watch it together. And I'd be like, all right. And I would, watch it and the show would still hold up. And so I wanted to know what was going on with George. I wanted to know what was happening with Lorena. I mean, was Carlos still cool after high school? Not really. I mean, yeah, but whatever. It depends how you define cool, I think. I think George may have won out in that a little bit. But I wanted to know what was happening with them. And I was so happy to find out that our lives had gone in such interesting and unpredictable ways. To find out that I was married and had a kid as someone who is very single. That was quite a shock. I keep saying that I'm so grateful to Maeve Garay and to Nitzia Chama for making my job as a father and husband so easy. I mean, as soon as I was on set with them, even in the audition process, I felt very protective of Maeve. I wanted to teach her everything I knew. And Nitzia, I just wanted to support her and to just help her to the best of my ability. And in that way, it was just so easy to tap into those aspects of the character. And then being Rich with that mansion, which, I mean, I'm going to say this so it's on the record. Jeff Valdez did say, if I win an Emmy for this show, he's buying me that house. And so now it's on the record. So we're just putting that out there.
The Emmy push starts right now. I got you, man.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm the wife, so I'm gonna have to share that house with him. It's okay.
Absolutely.
That mansion.
The whole family can be there for this summer.
2 months.
Alrighty, I'll throw it to Sadia.
Yes. Did the original cast continue to communicate?
Oh no, you're on mute. You went on mute.
Okay. Did the original cast continue to stay in touch over the years? Vanessa?
Vanessa, why don't you tell the story?
So we have a running joke that my least favorite brother is Bobby. Obviously, that's not true. I love them all equal in parts, but yeah, for the most part, we all kept in touch. Fun fact, Bobby was my prom date for my senior prom, which just goes to show you like how much we actually kept in touch. And, you know, we got some dance moves. We showed it to the floor, but it was great. So yeah, we have managed to all keep in touch. But I think what's been really special is like seeing everybody for, 3 months on end and being cooped up and making sure that the message of this show and the uniqueness and specialness of the show really came to light. But being with them has just been, it's just been such a wonderful trip down nostalgia lane, I think, right, Bobby?
I don't know.
Right?
No, yeah, I 100% agree.
There you go.
Thank you.
Jana, do you have another question?
I do. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I was like, oh, am I off mute? Yes. So I actually just kind of wanted to know, we talked briefly with the other group about Easter eggs, but outside of like salsa and hair and, Ray and those types of things, are there any other Easter eggs from the original series that you guys can talk about or tell us to look for the OG fans?
I mean, I don't know if it's an Easter egg because it's so blatant, but Richard is wearing a very apt throwback to the original series with the Hawaiian shirts. George will be primarily exclusively in Hawaiian shirts the entire series, which is very much, he has kept that going for 30-something years now. The man has a style that he sticks to, and that's very much still encapsulating George.
And I think in terms of cast members, at least two people that I interact with most on the show is obviously my arch nemesis, which is Goner from the news station. He played a character named Butter on the original series. And then my beloved amor, Paul Rodriguez Jr., was also my crush in high school. So they did a lot of like fun casting Easter eggs, which I think are really special and fun for people who watch the original series.
Great. Let's see, I'll take it for Oliver and Maeve. What was it like filming in that beautiful mansion, the house?
A lot of flight of stairs. When we were filming upstairs and then the base was like downstairs, we'd have to go up and then down. And it was very fun, especially with the pool and the ocean view. It was amazing.
It was very amazing. It was really funny how like we would have a little area, like all of us would just chill in there. And then like another room would be for getting ready to film. And then another room would be for filming. And then another room for like crafty. And then another room for like just chilling. It's crazy. It was so big.
So fun. All right, I'll take it to Ola Hollywood again for a question.
Hi everyone, how are you guys? So let's talk about Quintana Roo, Mexico, because it's a beautiful paradise. I would like to know some fun facts. Who was the fun person, the crazy one? I want to know the fun. And then also about the chemistry, because the executive producer told us that chemistry was very important when choosing the character.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story, but please don't tell Jeff Valdez. Okay, yeah. We were in Cancun, and of course we were in that like little bubble, right? Because we had to protect each other. And I had my sister visiting from Veracruz. I am from Mexico. I'm actually the only Mexican in the series. So I was so like proud to be there and to show them like, this is Mexico. This is my Mexican people. And I was like, I don't know, like I felt good when I had to translate something like for Elsha, for example, like she's Korean American. So I was like, oh, amiga, you have to order this and you have to say this to the people. So they're going to love you if you say this. So when my sister visited me, she said like, you have to invite them to the beach and we have to plan this for them and that. And I was so afraid like to take them out, and not out like, oh, we went like 3 hours like from the location, but out like 20 minutes away. So I said like, no, Mara, no one is gonna go. And then I send the invite and they say like, yeah, let's go to the beach tomorrow. Let's do this, let's do that. So we went together to Isla Mujeres, which is a very beautiful place. And I remember their faces like, wow, Nitzia, this is amazing. Mexico is beautiful. It has everything. We ate in a Cuban place. Actually, Bobby is Cuban American. So we danced salsa together and we had like such an amazing time. And we had like a beautiful bonding time. And that's really nice. And another thing, which is like really fun, I fall in love in that trip. And I was with my family, with the Garcias, and I was with my husband, falling in love with someone else in Cancun. So that was like kind of like crazy, you know? So he was like, it's okay. I'm your husband and you can date that guy. I like it.
Have fun.
So that's funny.
So great. All right, we're gonna do one last question here. Elena.
Thank you so much. And hi, everyone again. So I wanted to know, is there something that you added to your character that wasn't there, or any collaboration or ad lib that happened during the show filming?
I loved the scripts. The scripts were absolutely amazing. They were very well written. My comedy is a little improvisational at times. And so I would always do what was required of me, but I couldn't help myself in subsequent takes to kind of just do my own thing. And I'm very happy that a lot of that ended up staying in the show. I'm not going to say I didn't get in trouble sometimes, but I wanted to add my own spin to it, and I think it turned out great. We'll see how everyone else feels.
I feel like I added Victoria's goofiness and silliness, because Victoria in the script, she's portrayed as very confident and independent and maybe a little snotty. And so I feel like in some scenes, I just added a little bit of comedy, which I've gotten from my dad, Bobby. And so, yeah.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much. This is fantastic. I'd let you guys go so you can go to get ready for your premiere. Yay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.